This is Dani with Skye Gardens Flower Farm. I am going live this morning. I am out here at the farm. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It's actually good lighting because it's overcast. It's fairly quiet, so I think this is a good little spot. My kids are inside. They're currently eating breakfast and watching a show, so hopefully I can get through this without them interrupting me, but who knows, they may run out here and need something. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes before I dive into some questions, just to see if anyone wants to join here on the live. If you are watching this on the replay, what I'm going to do this morning is I'm answering just all kinds of general questions about growing flowers, flower farming, talking about if you have any questions on the bees or landscaping or gardening in general, just kind of here to answer questions. I have a bunch that I wrote down, but if you have anything, you should be able to post a question on the chat and I can answer it for you. Right away, I'll probably just talk about kind of what the plans are for the upcoming months. So we are almost to the middle of August. My kids start school next week, which I think everyone is excited for. I'm excited to get back in a rhythm. We've had fun over the summer, done a lot of fun stuff. It's cool getting to hang out with my kids. But I know that, they're getting a little bored. They're ready to go back, see their friends. I'm ready to get back on a schedule, and I'll have way more time to be doing stuff out here. I've been doing over the last month, I've been doing a lot of cleaning up around the farm and kind of preparing for the fall. My goal for the fall season is to have flowers growing come September that I can start selling back to my wholesale clients, like my florists or other growers, or doing arrangements for anyone locally, like retail. And then I hope to have our U-Pick open come October and then run it through Thanksgiving. And that just all depends on the weather. It all depends on how things are growing. So I never like to announce an opening, specific day for the U-Pick. So stay tuned to my social media so that you can find out when we will be open for our U-Pick. But that's my goal, is to, someone said, don't know me. Hi there, good morning. That's my goal, is to have the U-Pick open sometime in October and run it through Thanksgiving and then kind of shut it down. I also, in the meantime, for the fall, I'm continuously planting right now for things to bloom in the fall. And then someone said hi. By the time, September rolls around, I will be starting a bunch of seeds indoors. Hey, everybody. Got some people popping on the live here. I'll be starting seeds indoors in September for spring flowers and then be transplanting out probably between October and November. Once again, it just depends on the weather, because if it's still pretty hot outside, I like to kind of wait. Most of my stuff will probably be planted in or by November. Other than the tulips, I usually get those planted in December, and then Lysianthus in January. But I can kind of go into a lot of that later on. I do have some videos on how to fall plant spring flowers. If you're in a hot climate like me, that can really be beneficial, is to plant your spring flowers in the fall and overwinter them. That will give them a lot of time in the cooler weather to get established, which a lot of those cool season flowers like that. And then when it starts to warm up in the spring, they will kind of pop up and grow a lot and be ready to bloom. So anyways, that's kind of the plans for the upcoming months. I'm going to dive into some questions. Once again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. This is just like a general question and answer format. I'm not going to try to ramble too long. But if you have any questions about growing flowers, farming, gardening, landscaping, our bees, running a U-Pick, whatever, pop them in. So I had somebody request that I talk about plugs, and I didn't feel like it was enough content to talk about for a whole video, but I think the general question was wondering, how do you buy plugs? Why would you buy plugs? How do you fit that into your gardening or farming schedule? So I like to buy plugs for several reasons. The first is if there's anything that is really difficult to grow by seed, plugs are a great way to go. So a huge one of this is Lysianthus. Lysianthus is a beautiful flower that'll bloom in kind of late spring, early summer. It is incredibly difficult to grow by seed. It takes forever. Do people do it? Yes. Have I tried it? Yes. I did not have that great a success. And because it takes so long, I just don't want to mess with it. So I choose to buy plugs for Lysianthus. When you are considering buying plugs, you want to have them, ordered. You need to order them at least probably a few months in advance. And then you want to have them delivered at the time when you would be normally transplanting flowers outside. Hey, everybody. Got people coming into the live. So, for example, Lysianthus, where I am in South Texas, I'm planting Lysianthus in January. And so I want my plugs to arrive in January. I need to have them ordered by, September, October. I usually buy plugs from Farmer Bailey. I've had really good success from them. Hey, everybody. And so, because Lysianthus takes so long to grow, definitely at least 12 weeks in advance, you need to be ordering them so that they can go grow them and then ship them out to you. And there comes one of my kiddos. As I said, they're inside eating and one of them's coming out here. Can I help you, Caroline? You just walking around? Okay. Let's see. Somebody asked, what kind of things do you grow? So I'm a flower farmer, and on my farm, I grow flowers, all types of cut flowers. I have a U-pick field, which we open in the spring and the fall for people to come pick flowers. Sorry, I'm just looking at where my 6-year-old's going. She's just walking around. I sell a lot of wholesale. That's a huge part of my business. So to florists and other growers, and that's just all different kinds of flowers. I also have bouquet subscriptions, and then this year we started doing workshops. So lots of things going on here. I also grow stuff at my home. I'm big into landscaping, pollinator gardening. I grow vegetables, I grow fruit. So anything and everything gardening and flower farming, that's kind of what my channel is all about. But getting back to the plugs, so I just think, if it's something that you have a hard time starting by seed, if it's something that you think you may run out of time to start by seed or grow, I think those can be great candidates for plugs. But just know that if you want to grow something by plugs, find out where you're going to order them from. Like I said, I order from Farmer Bailey, which I highly recommend, but there's other places you can order plugs from. And then give yourself at least 3 months to order it before you're ready to receive it. It's not something that typically you can just go online, shop for, and say, oh, I want it shipped tomorrow. Most of the time you're having to plan ahead, think ahead to give these people time to grow your order and send it to you. Okay, somebody asked, is there anything that you direct sow in the fall? I'll be honest, I don't direct sow a lot of stuff. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, I'm a control freak and I like to have the control of starting things indoors. Also, for fall planting, where I am in South Texas, if you're fall planting your cool season flowers, like I said, it's going to be by November. If I try to direct sow stuff, sometimes it's still too hot. And a lot of these flowers, they like a cold or cooler start. So if I start them, here's my farm. Oh, I was going to try to grab my farm kitty. If I try to direct plant them outside, it's going to be too hot for them to get really up and running. So that's why I like to start most things indoors and then transplant them once it has cooled off a little bit. Sorry, I had to grab Pumpkin. Here's Pumpkin, our farm kitty. Caroline, you want to hold her? Here. You want to hold her? Maybe take her over that way? Thank you. No, you can't. You can't play with my phone right now. There are some things that do better direct sown. So like Bupleurum, Bells of Ireland typically do better direct sown, Larkspur, anything that's of like a wildflower nature. I do direct sow wildflowers. around November, I will plant a lot of wildflowers out in our wildflower field. And pretty much you just throw those seeds down, you stomp them in, let it rain on them, and they will grow. Here's my farm assistant coming into the live video here.
Can I go explore?
You can go explore.
Yay.
Take Caroline
Wait,
with
you're
you.
live? Okay.
Yeah, take Caroline with you if you want, but she needs to put her shoes on. Sorry if you're tuning in just now. Like I said, my kids are with me because it's summer still, but that's fine. They're just goofing off around here. Caroline, put Pumpkin down. Put Pumpkin down so she can run around. Put her down. Hold on. Okay. Caroline, let her run around. Go put your shoes on if you want to walk around. Okay, like I said, we're ready to go back to school. Okay, timing of fall planting. Do I winter sow things in gallon jugs? I do not. And that's because I have a relatively, warmer, cooler winter. I've seen people that do that. They winter sow in jugs. And this is people that I think live in colder climates, and that's so they can get a head start and start things earlier. When they have like snow or the ground's too hard outside, they will plant things in jugs outside and then transplant them. To me, that's just like starting things indoors and then transplanting them. I don't need to do that over the winter because it doesn't get that cold here. We don't get snow. We might get 1 or 2 freezes and that's it. So I either direct sow things or, like I said, I start indoors, and that's mainly because it's too hot and not too cold. Let's see, somebody was asking if I've ever considered a pumpkin patch. Yes, I have. In the last 2 years, I've actually planted pumpkins. Year before last, we transplanted them. They did not like it, and a lot of them died. This year, I direct sowed pumpkin seeds in an open area in our U-pick, and unfortunately, the weeds were so bad this year because of all the rain we've had and the warmer weather that they just did not grow and thrive. And that's all across the country. So many people have had trouble with weeds this year. So they kind of got overtaken, and I decided just to mow them down. Are you running around?
Yeah.
Okay. Door lock. Can you go let her back in the house? Probably shouldn't do a live again when I have my kids with me, but that's okay. So yes, I would still love to grow pumpkins. I just need to figure out a better, there's a really loud truck. I need to figure out a better area and situation on how to grow them. I don't know if I should grow them in fabric because of the weeds, or just have like a really, I don't know, particular place that I grow them in where I can keep on top of the weeding and keep them situated. Can you go elsewhere for a minute? Thank you.
Fine.
I'm almost done. So yeah, typically here you plant pumpkins in May, and they grow through the summer, and they will start fruiting and making pumpkins in the fall. That's not going to happen this year, unfortunately, and that's farming. That's life. You try some things out, and not everything's going to work, but I'm determined to try again next year and figure out a better situation for that. I've had a few people ask me about some of my new tools I've been using on the farm. I have some battery powered tools from Ryobi. That's where I like to get a lot of stuff from. You can order Ryobi tools or buy them in the store at Home Depot. They're all battery powered, and a lot of them you can interchange the batteries. I have a new battery powered hoe and a battery powered tiller. I have played around with both of them, and they've both been super helpful. I think I'm going to make a video in the next week or two about some of these new tools or some new, I don't know, processes that I've adapted on the farm that have really helped out, and they've made my life easier to where I'm kind of working smarter and not harder. So stay tuned for that, and I'll go into a little more depth on these Ryobi tools. Had somebody ask me about some more bee info. So we also raise honeybees on the farm. We sell local honey. Our first year, so year before, was it last? Yeah, last year we just started with 2 hives, and then this year we have 10. Now they are making honey. They're all doing very well, but because we've had so much rain this summer, it has been very unusual. Like yesterday we had 4 inches of rain out of nowhere. Are you bringing Pumpkin? There's Pumpkin.
Just to say hi to all you guys.
She probably wants to go inside and sleep. The kitties stayed out last night running around, but...
She got the choice to sleep inside, okay?
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll be inside. Oh, come on.
So yeah, so we're up to 10 hives this year in our aviary, and we sell local honey. We were hoping to have our first harvest by the end of June, but the rain has just really slowed them down, and it's been really rainy in a lot of the areas. Everyone's bees are kind of doing the same thing. They're still working, they're still producing, but just not enough for us to get like a full harvest. So we're kind of just checking them every week to see how everybody's doing, make sure they're still in there, and they are. They're doing well. It's just taking longer than we anticipated. So we're hoping for probably this year just a really big fall harvest. I will be selling honey locally. I'm looking into possibly shipping if you're interested, but I want to make sure that it's cost effective to ship honey versus sell it locally. But I will have it at our farm store during the U-Pick, and I will have it available for pickup if you're local and you want to either come to the farm or come by my home to pick up some honey. But I'll try to share more about the bees in future videos, because I've had people ask me about, beekeeping. I am not the expert. My stepdad is the expert. He's kept honeybees for years, and when we bought this farm, I asked if he wanted to get back into keeping bees out here, and he was like, heck yeah. So we have everything set up, and I know some stuff, but I'm definitely not an expert. He's the expert. So as we go, I will either bring him on to explain some things, or I'll get him to tell me, and then I will put it on some videos. Last thing I'll mention is anything new that we're going to be growing for next year, and really for spring flowers, so things that I'm planting in the fall and the winter for the spring. I'm really not growing, I don't think, much new. I did order some plugs for Campanula. I want to try that out. They're beautiful. That is a very highly requested flower from the florist. I've never grown it before, so I figured, well, I'm just going to start with plugs, order some plugs, plant them, and see how they go. But pretty much everything else is going to be the same. If anything, I'm cutting some things out, and I'm kind of cutting down the varieties, the different colors that I'm growing. Just because, I've tried a bunch of stuff, and I've just figured out some things that don't do well, or some things that don't sell well. And I think that's just something that you need to evaluate every year. What can I grow here and grow well and create an excellent product? What is actually going to sell? And that's probably the most important thing. Even if I can grow something, if I can't sell it, there's really no point if I'm running a farm. Now, if you have a garden at your house and you just want to play around with stuff, go for it. But I have a farm. It's a business. I need to make money. I need to be profitable. So there are some things that I will not grow because I can't sell them, even though maybe I can grow them or I like them. If I can't sell them, then there's no point. So yeah, that's kind of all the questions I got. I haven't really had anyone else ask a lot of questions on here. If you watch this later on and you do have a question, please comment below and I'll come later and answer it. But
you can watch live videos again?
It looks like that it's probably fixing to rain soon, and my kids are pestering me, so I probably need to go.
I want to go to the library.
We're at the end of summer, so we're struggling with finding things to do, but we're probably gonna head on because it looks like it's gonna rain and we got stuff to take care of. But I will hopefully put up some more videos here in the next few weeks. We are back to school next week, so I may not have a video next week just because of life. But like I said, more upcoming soon when we can get back in a good rhythm. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. Once again, any questions, comment below, and I will see you in my next video.
Bye.